Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys. First thing, shout out to the whole Boost in Motion family. I know you guys have already hit that like button. Thank you guys for your support. Anyways, guys, this video is going to be about should you idle your car in extreme cold weather? How long should you idle it, and does it actually cause damage to your vehicle in the long term? So, guys, you already know what to do. We're gonna hit a short intro. Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you. So you guys already know that pretty much if you live in the Northeast or North or pretty much anywhere where it's cold, we want to turn on our cars and we want them to warm up. Right now I'm in a jacket because I'm warming up. It's freezing outside, right? But how long should you actually let your car idle and run before you actually drive and take off? And what we realize, even in my own experiences, if you give the car about 2 minutes of idling driving, the car feels a lot more sluggish. So we realize that if you give it a little bit more time, especially with an auto start, when you get in the car doesn't feel as sluggish. So we thinking we're doing something good by doing so. But this article is pretty much verify this, and they pretty much did the science behind it or their own conclusion. So verify this. Yes, warming up your car before driving in cold weather can damage the engine. Okay, let's take a look at this. Excessive idling does not do any positive for your engine and long-term health. Winter is officially here, and winter storms are hitting many parts of the U.S. in frigid temperatures. Blah 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 blah. But a verified viewer wants to know if doing so can potentially hurt your car's engine. So moving forward, yes, warming up your car before driving in cold weather could cause long-term damage to the engine. More vehicles built after 1980 no longer need to warm up before driving, and experts say driving after 30 seconds to a minute after starting a car is the best practice. So this is what this website is saying. There's a YouTube video. We're not going to go through the YouTube video. I don't feel like dealing with a copyright or anything like that. But it is true that warming up your gas powered vehicle before driving in cold weather can cause damage to the engine. Firestone Complete Auto Care and Smart Motors Toyota, a dealership based in Madison, Wisconsin. If you're, quote, if you're one of the many drivers who think it's important to turn on your car and let it sit for a bit before hitting the road in wintry weather, you could be doing your engine more harm than good. Letting your car idle in cold temperatures can shorten the life of the engine by stripping away oil from the engine's pistons and cylinders, two critical components that help your engine run. This is what Stefan, PhD, principal engineer of battery systems, says. That's what he told Business Insider in 2016. Gas powered cars need oil to keep the engines lubricated. When you start a car, the oil pump circulates oil in less than a minute. But if you let your car idle, warm up to cabin, and the oil can be stripped away. Okay. So before we even continue, anyone who here's a quick lesson, right? Because we're car people here. This is a car enthusiast channel. We know that when we turn on a car, depending on the if you have a 0W20, 0W30, or 5W, that the first number is pretty much your cold below freezing temperature number. That's pretty much viscosity on how quickly that oil can go to some of the critical metal components in your engine, right? So let's say, for instance, like Nissan vehicles, let's say Q50, right? You have 0W20. It's gonna circulate the fastest as it can to all the critical components of the vehicle. Cool, we understand this, right? But here's the thing: what they're trying to stake. Well, I'm thinking theoretically where they're going. If you continue to let it add, right? Let it idle, right? Engines needs technically the metal components of engines need to start warming up. When metal warms up, it technically expands a little bit, and piston rings do the same thing when you add more and more heat to it, right? But when the motor is cold and freezing, those piston rings and those metal they shrink a little bit. I'm talking about this is such a small, minimal amount of shrinking that we won't be able to tell it by the naked eye, right? So what they're technically saying, from what I can think about, is blow by gases from the combustion chamber are blowing past the piston rings and the piston walls. And what's happening is some of that blow by gases, which has fuel in it, is getting into the oil and circulating around, which pretty much dirties your oil over time, especially if you're idling it idle for long periods. So if you drive the car, these metal components now could warm up a lot quicker rather than letting the car idle about at 750 for the next 10 to 15 minutes. But I could be wrong, but let's continue to go. Chuck's Auto Repair explains constantly letting a cold engine idle can actually be counterproductive because it gradually strips away oil from the engine pistons and cylinders. And no, guys, I did not read the article before. This is what I know. Here's the problem: when the engine is cold, the gas may not evaporate completely as it combines with the air. For more recent cars with electric fuel injection, these sensors are that detect this and compensate by adding more fuel to the mixture. This gives it a more of a rich mixture to warm up the catalyst converters, guys. This is me adding my own. You have to richen up so you can warm up those catalytic converters a lot faster, right? Um, when this excess fuel is in a chamber, some of it condenses on the cylinder walls and strips away the lubricating oil. When the lubricating oil is gone, components like cylinder liners and piston rings will wear prematurely. Less oil means more friction, more wear, more tear, and shortened life engine. This is what Firestone says. While some people let their cars up the interiors, others may actually be trying to protect their engine because of this outdated guidance. Firestone and Small Motors both say that most cars, once again, we already heard this part. Um, this is because they pretty much give some information. This is because older model cars had carburetors and regulated fuel and air mixtures with engine and could not accurately adjust the air fuel ratio in cold temperatures. In cold temperatures, carburetors couldn't vaporize all the gasoline that they let in the engine. So some of it would be left behind as a liquid rather than being burnt off during combustion. In order to work properly, a carburetor needs to warm up, or else it would run risk of stalling out. Cool. So, instead of warming up your car in the winter, most manufacturers recommend driving gently after 30 seconds because the engine warms up faster when the car is being driven. This means that the cold day driving routine should look something like this: buckle up, start the car, scrape the ice off the windows and mirrors, get in your car, and go. Just make sure that you do not accelerate too fast or rev the engine too much in the first moments your car is driving in the cold. Right? And let me see if there's anything else here they want to add. Um, this can this can add unwanted strain to the bearings and flood the combustion chamber with gas, which in turn takes miles off the engine's life. That's what Toyota says. For owners with electric vehicles, we don't even want to talk about those guys. We don't care about them. So, all in all, guys, let me give my honest personal take on this. Once again, I'm not an engineer. Was studying to be an electrical engineer, but from what I know and understand, they are talking correct. But the thing, that caveat they added at the end was, but when you start driving on a car, don't beat on it. Why do you think the guys are saying don't beat on the car? Because they're saying don't beat on the car because oil temperature isn't all the way up for it to flow to all the critical components and go through the engine fast enough to lubricate it fast enough. Once again, it's getting to all parts of the motor, but the oil temperature isn't at that certain temperature where it will flow quickly and lubricate all the best components. Bearings and stuff like this, once again, they have the 0W20. It has lubrication, but that lubrication only safeguards it for certain RPM. But if once you start driving, if you wanted to just peg that RPM needle, you're going to kill those bearings in that car. You're going to kill those cylinder walls because the metal hasn't started to swell back up and get to operated temperature, or the engine itself hasn't really warmed all the way up yet. Also, on top of that, the oil is not flowing fast enough through the engine to protect all those components. So it's like I agree with this saying, but then they'll say, "But take it easy." It, it's to me, it's definitely between the line. The best practice that I do, this is just my honest opinion, is if you have an auto start the car. If you know you're going to get in the car in the next 5 minutes, auto start the car, walk to the car in the next 5 minutes, and get in and drive. That's it. Another practice that I do is if I'm starting the car and I don't have auto start, I let it warm up to at least when the coolant level starts to go up, the temperature starts going up. Because the coolant, to me, that's just usually the coolant starts going up. That means the engine's getting hot enough and it's getting that coolant temperature hot enough. Okay, cool. That's just something that I do. If you have an oil temperature gauge, not all cars come with an oil temperature gauge. I want to put that out there too. But if you have an oil temperature gauge, same thing with that. Start to let it run up, and see if the oil temperature gauge starts going above about 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Not a lot of cars people have access to oil temperature, so it is what it is. And oil pressure, I really don't have any clue on that because every car's oil pressure is completely different. I realize that, so I can't really give you any definitively. But all in all, I still think do what's best for you guys. I think excessive idling is completely ridiculous. If you're gonna auto start the car 2 or 3 times, that don't make sense. What are you doing? Come on, just auto start it. But most cars auto start or you idle for between 5 to 10 minutes. I don't think this is really bad harm, but they're telling you guys something different. It is what it is. But outside of that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for banging with your boy Boost. If you found this video to be informational, definitely hit the like button. If you didn't, because I'm wearing this lime green jacket, I really do appreciate you guys making fun of me. But otherwise than that, guys, you have a good morning, good night, good afternoon, and good night. Happy holidays. You guys have a good day. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Do appreciate you guys. Love you guys very much. You can also check out the 2 links I posted for some of my other videos. Also, on top of that, if you want to purchase some Boost in Motion merch, definitely check the link that I posted also. And finally, if you've been watching all my videos and you enjoy them, please hit the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.